So you've done it. You've spent months, maybe even years, pouring your heart and soul into your game. The mechanics are perfect, the story is killer, the art is just wow. But here's the big question. Is it ready to go global? Let's get into it, because this is probably the single biggest opportunity for growth you've got.
And when I say big, I mean big. The global games market is worth over $152 billion. That is a massive, massive pie. And localization? That's your invitation to the feast.
It's not just about the money either. It's about the players. We're talking 2.5 billion of them around the globe. And guess what? A huge chunk of that audience doesn't speak English as their first language. That's a whole world of potential fans just waiting for you. Which brings us right to the heart of it. With a market this huge and so many players out there, are they finding and falling in love with your game? If the answer is not yet, don't worry. That's exactly what we're here to figure out. Okay, let's kick off section 1. Because unlocking that global audience, well, it's not as simple as just running your script through a translation program. Nope. To really succeed, you have to go a whole lot deeper. And this is the magic word localization. It isn't just about language. It's about culture, it's about context, it's adapting everything. The text, the UI, the jokes, the references, to make the game feel like it was born in that market, not just visiting. And here's a great way to see the difference. Translation is a direct word-for-word swap, but localization, that's a total makeover. It's asking the important questions, like, will this joke even make sense in Japan? Or is this color scheme okay in China? It's about making your game a cultural chameleon. And if you need a business case, well, here it is. This stat says it all. More than half of your potential players won't even consider buying your game if they can't read about it in their own language. And in some countries, that number shoots up to 60%. The takeaway here is crystal clear. Localization isn't a bonus feature. It's a sales driver.
All right, so you're sold on the idea, but with nearly 200 countries out there, where on earth do you begin? For Section 2, we're going to let the data do the talking and draw us a map to the biggest opportunities.
See, for a long, long time, the industry had a simple rule of thumb. EFIGS. That's English, French, Italian, German, and Spanish. If you had those covered, you were golden. But, as we're about to see, the world has changed, and that old map, it's dangerously out of date. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Let's look at what developers are actually doing. The old crew, French, Italian, German, Spanish, they're still super popular. But look who's crashed the party and climbed into the top tier. Simplified Chinese, Brazilian Portuguese, and Russian. This is our first big clue that the ground is shifting under our feet. And this chart tells us why. Just follow the money. Look at this. China is number 1, pulling in a mind-blowing $34 billion. Japan and South Korea are right up there in the top 4. The economic powerhouse of the gaming world has made a dramatic tilt towards Asia. So when you put those two pieces of data together, what developers are doing and where the money is, the picture becomes incredibly clear. The new black in localization is that old FIGS group plus 3 absolute giants: Simplified Chinese, Brazilian Portuguese, and Russian. This is your new formula for global success. But hey, a one-size-fits-all list isn't the whole story. The really smart developers know how to tailor their approach, so let's jump into Section 3 and talk about building a smarter strategy that works for your game specifically. Before you translate a single line of code or text, you've got to ask yourself these questions. Is your game a free-to-play MMO? Then you're going to want to look at markets with massive player bases, like Brazil. Is it a deep, premium narrative game? Maybe high-spending European markets are your best bet. Your strategy has to fit your game like a glove. And here's another thing. It's not an all-or-nothing commitment. You can ease into it. Start with just basic localization, your App Store page. It's a cheap and easy way to test the waters. If you see a spike in downloads from, say, Germany, then you can invest in partial or even full localization with voice acting. This is a really critical piece of the puzzle. In a country like Sweden, yeah, you might get away with an English-only version because proficiency is so high. But look at the bottom of that chart. China, Japan, Brazil, Turkey, these are some of the biggest gaming markets on the planet. And for them, localization isn't just a good idea, it is absolutely essential. It's your ticket to entry. Okay,
We've covered the why, the where, and the how. Let's pull it all together in our final section and lay out some clear, simple first steps you can take to go global.
So, if you're looking for the simplest, most powerful place to start, this is it. The safest bet with the highest potential return is the new black. French, Italian, German, Spanish, plus those 3 giants we talked about, Chinese, Russian, and Brazilian Portuguese. Nailing these 7 languages will open up the vast majority of the global market for you.
But what about the future? Where's the next big wave coming from? The data shows us that too. The fastest growing languages right now are Turkish, Malay, and Hindi. So once you've got the new black locked down, keep a very close eye on these. They're your next big opportunity.
And so we end right back where we started. Your game is ready. It's a brilliant piece of work. But after everything we've looked at, the size of the prize, the player data, the strategic map, the real question is it ready for the world? Well, now you have the guide to make sure the answer is a resounding yes.